As everyone gets older, they certainly experience various changes in their lives, and these changes are certainly different, as is the case with old age, ranging from career changes to stopping work due to retirement, children who are starting to grow up and get married and have to live alone, one by one building their own families, to losing loved ones. In fact, not a few elderly people are starting to experience changes in their health condition, such as hearing function and vision function. Some elderly people even experience a decline in cognitive function, becoming very forgetful. Of course, this causes complaints or extraordinary psychological impacts. Plus, some elderly people also suffer from diseases ranging from respiratory, heart, or diabetes, which certainly makes old age more difficult and prone to depression. Therefore, it is important for the elderly to live a healthy and happy life. For the elderly, it is important to know how to face and accept these various changes wholeheartedly. The following are important things for the elderly to do so that their lives become much happier, because of course, when the elderly can still feel happy, it means they are still mentally healthy. What needs to be done is to focus on things that can be done when experiencing a decline in mobility or movement, which may be due to suffering from various degenerative diseases and becoming someone who cannot live independently. The elderly often feel sad and disappointed in themselves and experience various mental or psychological disorders. Even though if their mindset and perspective are more positive, the elderly can live a healthy and happy life. For example, instead of focusing on things that they can no longer do, it would be better if the elderly focus on things that they can still do. That way, the elderly will find it easier to feel grateful and, of course, sincerely accept the changes they have experienced so far. This certainly encourages them to feel happier. Moreover, accepting and being willing to adapt or adjust to the changes that occur is also key to staying healthy, both physically and mentally or psychologically. Of course, in old age, there are many things that the elderly can do, such as pursuing hobbies that may have been abandoned for a long time, such as making crafts, gardening, or just helping to take care of grandchildren. That will make them much happier than just thinking about the physical changes they are experiencing. The second thing is to build good relationships with other people. As they enter old age, they also experience the loss of loved ones more often. Not to mention the changes they experience, such as retiring from work, which will certainly make it difficult for them to meet their colleagues again. When the elderly experience a serious illness, it will certainly bring physical changes that will create obstacles to moving, doing activities, and gathering with people around their place of residence. Moving house can also make it more difficult for the elderly to have a social life like before when they were young. However, communicating and building good and close relationships with other people can help the elderly not feel lonely so that they can live a healthier and happier life. Therefore, do not hesitate to make new acquaintances and build good relationships with them. You can do volunteer activities that allow you to meet many people. Having many friends and acquaintances can help you avoid loneliness and various other sadness. The elderly can participate in elderly exercise activities or activities carried out by other elderly people. Of course, This can make their life not lonely and feel less alone, or they can also visit their children and meet their grandchildren from time to time, making the atmosphere more varied and colorful. Even if they don't live with their children and grandchildren, at least scheduling regular meetings with them will be something extraordinary. Or calling old friends will also be very helpful in making the physical and emotional condition of the elderly much better. This means that maintaining good relationships with others when entering old age is much happier without focusing on the physical and mental changes they experience due to the aging process. If you are still watching this video and feel that this lesson is beneficial, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still with me in activities to help you feel better and certainly more meaningful. 3. Participating in volunteer activities. Even though they have entered old age, it does not mean that the elderly cannot participate in volunteer activities. As long as they are still able to do so, they can certainly do social activities like this. The elderly can participate in these activities to help them feel better and certainly more meaningful. Besides being able to meet many new people, participating in volunteer activities can make the elderly feel needed by others. One factor that makes the elderly happy is if they feel useful because there are still people who need their presence. There are still people who are helped by their presence. Or maybe pursuing a hobby of gardening, and then it is impossible for all the results of their gardening to be consumed, so sharing the results of gardening with neighbors can also create its own happiness, create meaningfulness that they are still useful and can help others. Of course, this will have an impact on their health, both physical and mental or spiritual. Sharing activities like that will also be able to increase relationships with people around or neighbors. Of course, they will not feel alone because there are always people who care. There are always people who accompany them. There are always people who care about their condition and presence in that area, even though their children and grandchildren live far away in another city. Applying a healthy lifestyle is not only for those of you who are still in your productive years, but this good lifestyle is also applied by the elderly, especially if they want to feel healthier and happier in old age. Continuing to do physical activity will certainly be extraordinary to maintain vitality or physical health. Moving and doing light activities such as walking, cooking, and doing light activities that are usually done every day. Praying can support physical health, or it could be continuing to do daily activities, perhaps selling or gardening. This can also make our minds much clearer and more positive compared to thinking about the past or thinking about the changes that are happening. Of course, physical activities such as gardening and pursuing hobbies can eliminate negative thoughts about oneself and others. This is certainly a healthy lifestyle that greatly supports the mental health or spiritual health of the elderly. In addition, eating enough nutritious food is very important for the elderly, because to do mobility or movement, they need enough energy, although in general, the nutritional needs, and energy needs required by the elderly are not as much as during their productive years. Getting enough rest is also very important. Activities that are more balanced and more measured to maintain fitness and optimal physical condition require enough rest. It is necessary to balance physical activity and rest hours. This is certainly an extraordinary lifestyle. In addition, it is also necessary when there is health problems experienced. Don't forget to always control their health condition. Go to a health professional or hospital to get therapy or medication and get information. Maybe they need to go on a diet or reduce or consume certain foods. This is very important. The elderly can also garden while doing plant therapy to reduce sadness and depression so as to create meaning and happiness. And the good news is that most of them can be improved with simple daily habits. Now I want to hear from you. What is one thing you learned today that you will start practicing in your life? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you like this video, please leave your comments below and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stay strong, stay healthy, and I will see you in the next video.